Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dan the Man Talks Real Estate. This is yours truly, Dan the Man, here with a very special guest, very impromptu. Got a phone call, and a good friend, agent, super agent, is in town, and we are going to talk everything real estate with her. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you all super agent Jessica Nelson.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure to have you here, Jess. So you're in town for a few days, and gonna do just a quick intro, and then I'm gonna let you just kind of talk a little bit about, your journey. Jessica was an agent here in New Jersey and moved to
Hoboken.
Yes, Hudson County, and moved to the great state of Texas, and took her skills there and just completely started from scratch, and is now just absolutely crushing it in Texas. One of the top agents in that state, and we're going to get into that. So just do me a favor, Jess. Talk a little bit about your journey when you started in real estate, what brought you to it, all of that kind of good stuff.
Wow. Okay. So thank you for having me here, Dan. It was very last minute. If Dan the Man's going to have you on his show, you better show up, right?
Love it. Preach.
Preach, for sure. So when I first started, you probably don't remember this. I was helping you and Margaret and the golf tournament that they had every year.
Yes.
You remember that?
I remember the golf tournament.
So what was the official name of that tournament? It was a fundraiser for the Liberty Board.
Yes, it's a charity event.
Yes.
Yes.
So
and I did it every year.
That's how we met at that event.
That's right.
Yeah. So I was at Sotheby's at the time, and Margaret was kind of giving me the eye. She was like, "So, what do you think about Liberty?" And you were at Liberty. Mm-hmm. And I want to say I was running for the Board of Education also at the same time.
You were. And I'll tell you why I didn't remember that until now. I went to an event that you had, I believe you were hosting it at someplace downtown.
It was at the Clam Place,
yes.
right? It's famous.
Clam Broth House?
Yes.
Yes. And that's right. And I was there with Margaret. We all kind of came down, and that was a brief intro, into meeting you and kind of getting a little bit to know you. Yeah. At
the time, I don't believe I was at Liberty yet.
No.
So I remember you had given me a ride home. Mm-hmm. And, here in Hoboken, parking is a problem. So when you have a good friend and you need to go 11 blocks and they have a car, they'll do you a solid, like Dan the Man. Mm-hmm. And, you had kind of said a few things, and I just thought Sotheby's was amazing. Why would I ever leave? Mm-hmm. And you said, well, maybe you should come check it out. And then maybe 3 months later, I had joined Liberty. And you were a top agent there. Michael Klein, Greg Taylor. I mean, really most of the strongest agents in Hoboken were at Liberty at the time. So we were, it almost felt like a Wall Street, It
was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I enjoyed my time there. I learned basically, I don't want to say everything because that's not true.
We still have more to learn.
Of course, that's why I was like, but the foundation of real estate I learned through being at Liberty for 10 years, 11 years. So yeah, I remember that. A lot of good times, a lot of success too. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It always felt like family here in Hoboken.
Hudson County is that way. There's so many people, but I feel like it's very tight. As far as towns, you literally can be going one block and then the next block in another town.
Yep.
So it's very tight knit, and you see the same people. You run into the same, you run into the same sellers. You run into the same agents, brokers. It's very tight knit. So yes,
there is no hiding here.
No, and you will. And to take a sidebar on this. This is a great place to start your career, because if you can survive and thrive here in Hudson County, you can survive and thrive anywhere.
Absolutely.
And Jess is a perfect example of that, because we're going to get into when she left and then went to a completely different state. I don't know, what's Texas, 2,000 miles away, and completely made a career down there, and now you're one of their top agents too.
Thank you. Yeah, so if you can get to 12 deals a year here in Hoboken, that is the equivalent of 50 anywhere else.
Is that right?
It really is.
Because you're seeing that in Texas?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
In order for you to do, a deal a month here, you're having to push and shove, show up to networking events. There's so many great agents. Anytime you're in one room, there's going to be 30 agents who probably know more than you. They know the people longer than you do.
Mm-hmm.
They know the business. They know how many generations have lived in that building. And for you to make it here, you really have to do something different and something truly special.
Yeah.
So when you master that skill of, how to do deals, of how to negotiate, of how to be kind of a bulldog to get people's attention, when you go somewhere else, it's like dominoes. They all fall down.
Really? Interesting. Because, to give you a little background on my story, yeah, and my audience knows a lot of, I'm very, very open about my successes and a lot of my failures. When I started, I was, I was doing what, you'd stumble upon, 5 deals, 8 deals a year.
Sure. Just
from your friends or people you knew. And nothing was consistent. Only when I started to work with a real true mentor in Aaron with the Elite Builders did I really start to consistently list and consistently close, deals on a regular basis. So, yeah, I can completely understand and I can confer with you on that.
Prospecting here, it makes
Talk about
me,
that.
yeah, it makes me laugh because, I help agents now in Texas and they're like, they were mean to me, and it's really upsets them. And it was almost odd here when someone wasn't mean to you.
Yes.
It was to be expected.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you can get through that, if you have the mental fortitude to, overcome that hurdle, you could do it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. You can. Just this morning, I had somebody tell me, "Don't ever call me again." I had somebody tell me to F off, and because they're getting hit with a lot of big. But look, when your property doesn't sell, I can help you, and I know what to do to get it there. But again, when you're getting hit with 10, 20, 30, 40 phone calls from every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's out there, yeah, they're going to get angry and frustrated.
Yeah.
And that's that initial hurdle that we always talk about here of if you just have the skill to connect with these people, sellers, even for sale by owners, expireds, just listed, just solds, you can connect with them. However you get over that initial hurdle of them just wanting to get off the phone with you within a sentence or two,
right?
It's golden.
Absolutely. And here it's not a place where you can't door knock a condo, right?
No.
So there are other obstacles that you have to overcome. Another issue that we're all dealing with is robo-killers.
Yes.
A lot less pickups per hour, right?
Yes, 100%.
So I can imagine that for you have even less of a window.
Yeah.
You get 4 people who pick up, you got to get somebody's attention.
Yes. And then those numbers get burned because they're hit as spam. So yeah. So all right. You brought up a great point. So let's talk about prospecting. Talk about the difference between where you're at now in Texas and where you were here. Because I know your skill level is completely different from when you were here to when you were there. So this was a whole journey of being in proximity to the right people because proximity is power. We know that. So you got in proximity with certain people, made certain decisions in your life, and now you're at a completely different place. So let's start from the genesis, from where you were here. Talk about your experience here and successes you were having, failures you were having, and then moving over to Texas.
Here was very different for me because I was in a relationship where I had financial backing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a partner who had the means to support my family if I wasn't able to do so.
Right.
Part of the reason why I moved to Texas and made this big life change is because I no longer had that financial support. So for me, I was in a situation of sink or swim.
Right.
And for any women that are watching this right now, please reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to hold your hand. I wish that I had someone to really hold my hand back then. Yeah. And the person I got, I'm very grateful for. That was my coach, who is Aaron. Mm-hmm. He, but your coach is not your girlfriend, right? She's not your gal. So moving to this new place where I knew nobody, my family is still in New Jersey. It was a big transition for me to go through that. And what I had to learn was how to overcome objections, how to get people's attention, how to list property. When I was in New Jersey, I was an agent, but I wouldn't call myself a full-time dedicated agent. I was an agent who was learning the business.
Okay.
Which most people are.
What brought you to Texas? Why Texas?
Texas seemed to me a wholesome place where you could raise a family and have a nice life without being in the constant rat race of working 24/7 at the expense of spending time with your family.
Right. Okay.
When you're one parent and one earner, there is some sacrifice that takes place, and you cannot get time back.
Right.
Your children's childhood is gone. You don't get that back.
Yeah, like I can imagine thinking about that. I don't have children, and we all, my audience knows that. I'm not married or anything like that. So thinking about what you just said, your children are only that age one time.
Yeah.
So you only get to experience, your children at that age once, and then that's it. Yeah. So it sounds like that became a reality to you, or
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like came into the forefront.
There's something about the age between like 7 and 11, because they go from being like babies, like kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how cute, to like, oh, I just had a real conversation with you. That it hits you. It's like, oh my gosh, they're going to be in college soon, and you want to treasure every moment.
Are they at the point where it's like hanging with mom's not cool, or they never went through that stage? Because I did. I never want to hang out with my parents. Once I hit like 12, 13, I was like, they're not cool.
So one of my daughters is here. The other one is not, because she's hanging out with her cool friends.
Her friends?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Very accurate.
I went through that. Listen, we were all kids once. I just feel like when I was young, and I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm Gen X. When we were young, it was you're outside, you're playing, there's no phones, there's none of that stuff. So it was just a different time. And I really enjoyed the freedom that you got once you hit like 12, 13 years old. It was great. So
I think most kids are like that.
I would agree. I think that the phone has changed what they're exposed to at an early age.
How lucky are we that camera phones didn't exist?
Oh God, like I'd probably be in jail now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Nicole's over there. I know, Nicole. I wouldn't be in jail. I swear to God, I wouldn't be. All right. So you're in Texas now. All right. We're starting from scratch. Yeah. You move. You get yourself settled. Now it's like, holy shit, I have to start earning money. Yeah. Talk about that.
So at Liberty, we had that bullpen mentality of everyone making phone calls together, prospecting, hammering the phones, putting up your appointment on the board, bing, dinging the board. Yeah. I took that mentality and did it with myself.
Okay.
My little office, my space became my bullpen.
Yeah.
And I just hammered those phones, and then I would go door knocking, and my goal every day is to talk to 50 people. I did not know how to properly pronounce half the names of the cities I was working in. Like, the seller would literally correct me. They'd be like, no, sweetie, that's not how you say that.
Oh, wow. And they call you sweetie.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling you sweetie here.
I love the manners of the South. Like, yes, ma'am, no, sir. I learned how to speak respectfully, so that was a positive.
Yeah.
But speaking to 50 people every day was number one. I still talk about it. The majority of, interviews I've done, they're like, well, how'd you do it? And I'm like, I asked 50 people a day, when do you plan on moving?
That's a great question. Such a great question.
If someone is bound to tell you, yeah, we're looking at this, or we just saw that, and if you ask people about what they care about, they're going to tell you everything.
Amazing. Isn't that amazing? You just don't make it about you. It's all about them. How can I serve you? What are you looking to do? And it's amazing. You get the results.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
I didn't know a lot back then. That's how I know that any agent can do it. I mean, I didn't know the names of the towns. I didn't know the scripts.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff I did not know outweighed what I did know.
And when you're there, okay, so you're door knocking now, and they have to hear a Northeastern accent when you're door knocking in Texas. Like, tell me about it. Did any of that come up? Were they, who are you? You're laughing, so I'm going to imagine something's true. Or you got something in your head.
So I've never actually publicly admitted to this.
Oh, this is great. Go. A Dan the Man exclusive.
So I would kind of put on an accent of what I think Southern people sound like.
Oh, my God.
And, eventually it started to stick so that I wouldn't sound Northern.
Right.
Well, hi. I was just walking by in the neighborhood, and your home is lovely. I don't think you necessarily need to move, but if you happen to know any of your neighbors, maybe their daughters are done with high school, is there anyone that I could help? And they wouldn't say anything. They would just look at me like I was a part of them. And the more I did it, because I mirror matched the people I was talking to,
great skill,
the better the accent would get. So yes, I tried my best to fit in. I guess maybe it was a little inauthentic, but the reality is a Texan is not going to hire a New Jersey girl with a thick Jersey accent as a stranger.
Did you notice that starting out? You were knocking on doors. Did you
Yes.
did you do the accent right off the bat, or no? You learned that?
You know what? It started to naturally happen, like to where I didn't try to do it.
Okay.
I almost would hear someone, right? And then I would start speaking the way they spoke. So it wasn't really intentional. But then I realized how much better my results were when I really went headfirst into it.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, in the area that I'm in the suburbs of Dallas, these are conservative people who don't necessarily love outsiders.
Okay. And and I'm curious because I'm genuinely interested in what you have to say because I don't know. I'm ignorant to this. When you're door knocking there, did you initially see, all right, they're shutting the door. They're like, no, we're not interested. And it's like a quick cutoff, or did you experience something else?
No, I experienced actually a feeling of being welcomed. That actually, door knocking actually improved my life in Texas because it helped me to learn about people in my community. The first thing I learned was at 5 to 6 o'clock, the cars start coming home.
Right.
And families have dinner. That is not something we're used to here. Like 5, 6 o'clock is generally not when anyone gets home.
Right.
Because they're commuting from the city.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Or before pandemic, I should say. So typically families eat not together here in the Northeast, and they eat like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So I had a really fun experience seeing like kids playing in cul-de-sacs, playing catch, riding their bikes, parents coming home from work. And I started to be like their neighborhood door knocker. And they would actually tell me, oh, you know what? I was talking to so-and-so and their son moved to North Carolina and they think they want to go there too. Go talk to her.
No way. So they're like your bird dogs.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't genuinely become part of the community. I mean, I used to bring these people like gifts, and not gifts like tacky things. Like, if I saw you had a dog, I would bring the dog like a bone and I would ask, like, is this, are they allowed to have a Kong or whatever, There was an older lady who lived by herself, and I saw all the trouble she was having. Like, she was fixing her yard and like painting things herself.
Yeah.
I came and helped her pressure wash her house.
Wow.
Because honestly, that's what I'd want someone to do for me.
Or somebody you love.
So
Yeah.
I really just I didn't look at it as like I'm door knocking to make money today. I looked at it as I want to be a part of this community. I need to get to know this community, and I don't deserve the chance to serve them unless I actually become a part of their world.
Right. That's fantastic. Now, you mentioned people eating at 5 or 6. Did you notice that in door knocking at that time they were, hey, we're eating? We're
the worst possible time to door knock
is 5 to 6 o'clock.
Yep. In fact, usually when I walk the neighborhood at that time, I barely even say anything. I'll just say, dropping off a flyer to invite you to our open house. We're going to do an Easter egg hunt for the kids. I won't say, when are you moving, or any of that type of stuff that time of day. The best time to door knock is actually like 12 to 3 because it's the point in the day when people who work from home are kind of taking a break. They want some fresh air. They're happy to see a human face because they've been staring at screens.
Yeah.
And then like older people who are, watching their soaps, they're really happy to have a visitor. So that 12 to 3 hour typically has been the best time for me.
Interesting.
And it's a follow-up game. You're typically not going to get, I mean, every once in a while you will. I'm not going to tell you it never happens. There are times where I was knocking a door and someone said, yeah, an agent just left, actually. It feels like it's meant to be. Do you want to come in?
Oh, no way.
But that's like, that only happens because you're doing it for so many hours a day.
Right.
Like it's statistically,
You play the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. So you're building. So this is great. So you're building. So you're taking. All right. I got to start to earn money now. First thing I think, door knock. So now you're getting to be a part of the community, which is just a great value add from a human perspective.
It also made me happy. Like I enjoy it.
Okay. Love it. Yeah, I mean, look, you live there. Why not introduce yourself to neighbors? Hey, by the way, I'm also a real estate agent. If you happen to know anybody, this is what I do for a living. Someone's going to help them. Yeah. Why not be you?
Exactly.
Love it.
You're getting fresh air. Like, most people like going out for walks, It's a much better environment for working than just sitting in a room, with stale air by yourself. It's a lot more fun.
Love it. It's a great idea. Love it. So, okay, we're building now. Now you're building. You're starting to get people that are interested. You meet with them. Talk about now skill level from Hoboken to skill level in Texas, because I'm going to imagine it's 2 different skill levels. It's 2 different whole mentalities.
The priming and prepping of Hoboken made me a killer in Texas.
Okay. The
negotiating skill level, the ability to truly broker a deal, put a deal together. I mean, it was, I don't want to say it was easy because that would be downplaying, some really great realtors in Texas. There are some excellent realtors. It's just, we are so sharpened up here. Like before we even take a listing, we're typically looking for buyers first so that seller knows that we're not wasting their time or they didn't make a mistake on us.
Right.
And that's not a mentality that Texans have, right? Their mentality is we'll put it on the MLS and see what happens.
Oh.
For the most part, right?
Okay.
They also don't have dual agency. So they are typically never going to work both sides, right?
Hang on. This is a great point. So let's talk about that. You just said they don't do dual agency. Explain what dual agency is and why they don't do it there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much in the mud with this because like new agents are going to freak out. But so dual agency is you represent both the buyer and the seller and you bring together both sides and you make the total commission for having done so. In the state of Texas, you are not allowed to do that. It's one agent for the buyer, one agent for the seller, and you are independent. So if you are putting the deal together, you have to pass that client off to another agent in your office.
Ah, okay.
And,
interesting. Can you take a referral fee on that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
All right. So it's not a complete, one buyer, one seller, but
it really is. I mean, anything else is considered like working the system.
Oh, okay.
Like Texas is very clear about they want each party to be fairly represented and not have conflicting interests.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So that was something you learned from Hoboken to there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, all right. So you're noticing that your negotiating skills are coming into play and coming into play in a very powerful way. Are you noticing? Yeah, go ahead. You were going to say.
I'm not sure if that's necessarily having to do with place as much as it was time. There were so many new agents during pandemic. You know, I don't want to throw a bunch of techs and realtors under the bus because there are excellent agents. I have a feeling that a lot of the buyer's agents I was dealing with had just gotten licensed and they didn't realize how much they were, you know, giving up things that they shouldn't have been.
Oh, right.
You know,
in the negotiating.
to acquiesce. Yeah.
Sure. So interesting. All right. So now you're there and you're negotiating. You're noticing that. Oh, let's talk about when you moved. So you had mentioned pandemic and pre. When did you actually go from Hoboken to Texas? What year?
2020. I went September 2020.
Right in the middle of the pandemic.
Right in the middle of the pandemic. A lot of people made the move. I want to say 6 months to a year after me.
Yeah.
I'm a trendsetter. And I made that move really initially out of necessity. Homeschooling was the only way to educate children at the time. And it was not possible for me to be a teacher, a business owner, you know, every other hat that we have to wear. I had to send the kids off to school every day to be educated.
Right.
And Texas schools were open.
Oh, right. That is a red state, so.
Yeah, I don't want to get into politics because we'll be here all day. Texas lifestyle was the 180 to what Jersey was at the time. And just out of pure necessity, that was the lifestyle I needed at that time.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, we were definitely very locked down and things of that nature. So, yeah, we won't. Not going to get into that. All right. So now you're noticing that, all right, we're negotiating deals. We're putting deals together. You're starting to get your feet underneath you. And so now let's get into the success. All right. So you're starting in 2020. And now we're going to move into 2021. Are you seeing yourself, your deals, your income, your success? Are you seeing it starting to rise as you're at, I don't know what brokerage you were at, so talk about who you were with and what you were doing at the time.
I was at a big box brokerage, and the reason why I went there is the regional vice president, Alex Vidal, is someone I highly respect. And when I found out that he was going there and he made the offer to me to join the brokerage he's with, it seemed like a perfect fit. Some things happened, and what I learned about big box brokerages and traditional brokerages, for the most part, it's very difficult to truly form a team and create a legacy when so much money is taken from the brand.
Okay.
So if you, Dan, decide, hey, there's someone following you that's like, I really want to work with Dan. I'm new, I'm eager, and Dan knows what he's doing. Can I mentor with Dan? At a lot of those brokerages, he's going to pay 30% to the broker. He's going to pay a monthly fee. And then, like, Dan's time isn't free. Dan needs to get, let's say, 20%, right? And that's probably a lot less than you deserve to be paid.
Right.
By the time that agent gets money, it's like 15%.
Wow.
And most human beings cannot support themselves with 15% of a commission. And then on top of that, how do you build a business without any equity, ownership, long-term benefits? So I was building a house on quicksand at that point in my career because I had these wonderful agents who were hardworking, loyal. They wanted to do anything I told them to do, but they couldn't make any money like that.
And when you say big box brokerages, explain what you mean by that.
The big brands. When you talk about like the Weichert, Century 21, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Berkshire Hathaway, probably even Keller Williams now too is in that because they do have franchise fees and some other stuff. Basically any brokerage that isn't EXP. Real is similar to us, and I think there's some others that have the benefits EXP has.
Yeah.
But when I say big box, I'm talking about traditional brokers that you do not have any ownership, you do not have any equity in the company, and the only money you make is from your commissions earned, which you're going to pay them a significant portion of.
Right. So earned income is it.
That's it.
And these are brick and mortar companies that have actual office space that they got to pay for each month, which are tens of thousands of dollars a month. Is that, so we're talking those?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And in those places, I'm not saying anything wrong about them. Like if you're a new agent and you're getting excellent training, that's probably a great fit for you.
Yeah.
But for brokers who know what they're doing, that is not a sustainable long-term plan.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't privy to any of it. Well, actually, I was for a little bit, but we're not going to get into my sordid history. Okay. So you're noticing that. So you're at the different brokerage now. You've left Hoboken. You're in Texas. You're in one of those brokerages. You're noticing the difference in income. You then say what?
I could not build a team in the structure I was in. So I chose to go to EXP. And now I have a wonderful group of humans who are helping other humans in Texas, and they're making great money, and we're building.
Awesome. And when you say we're making great money, talk about the differences between what you had and what you're getting now with being an elite builder as far as passive, stock, all that other good stuff. This episode is brought to you by the Elite Builders. It's brokered by eXp Realty. I've spoken a lot about elite builders and the value stack that you get just by partnering with us. There's tons and tons of value here. But again, aside from the financial value, which we'll get into in a minute, becoming an elite builder, really, you're going to basically change your life in every facet: physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially. What do I mean by that? You're going to be in proximity to people that operate on a high level, high character, high integrity. We're creators. And what do we want to create? We really want to create leaders and inspire you and others to be the best versions of yourself, highest version of yourself that you can be. And when you do that, you're now operating at a high level, and you're going to then inspire others to do their best. And then when you want to talk about it from a financial perspective, as far as if you're an agent or a broker, the value stack that you get free group coaching. All right, so let's go through them. Group coaching, it's a $3,000 value. You have role play groups that I run 2 of them, 7:30 and 11:30. Where you learn scripts on what to say, how to say it, and how to say it with confidence so you can help serve your clients to the absolute highest level. That's a $1,000 value. There's an exclusive ladies mastermind group. Okay, that's a $3,000 value. Very, very high these women are operating at such a high level. They have their own exclusive mastermind. Awesome women in there. That's a $3,000 value. The scripts and the courses themselves that you get, expired, for sale by own, or just listed, just solds, pre-qualification, listing presentation, objections, all of it. You get that and the courses that are online in like 40 different languages. That's a $1,000 value. The systems training, the CRM training that you get, the systems training itself is a $2,000 value. So we train you on how to put systems in place so you're operating your business at the highest level possible. So we have that. The CRM training, which is basically your database, we teach you how to put all of your clients into a database, and then it serves you and feeds you as far as contacting them, how often, and how to serve them. It's so it's basically where you're housing your whole business. That's a $1,000 value. And then the events and the webinars that we have, another $1,000 value. Like, you're looking at over $10,000 in value that other agents that aren't partnered with EXP pay. And when you do partner with us, these are all free. They're literally all free. So if this is of interest to you, just reach out to me. Again, you can subscribe to the channel. Dan the Man Talks Real Estate. I'll send you more information about it, or you can reach out to me on the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at Daniel Masrobian, and we'll send you all the information you need to get you started on, again, just building your life and partnering with us to be literally the best version of yourself that you can be.
So I feel like every day I learn new benefits. It's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
When someone first told me about EXP, my face looked like I was sucking on a lemon. I was like, no way, no how. Because, and this is probably going to be so silly to you, the letters EXP, and you're a prospector, what do they stand for?
Good question. I don't know. I should know that, huh?
What's one of the biggest categories you're calling? Not FSBOs.
Oh, expireds.
Expireds.
Oh, interesting.
So I had this mental block. I was like, I'm not an expired realtor. I'm not going to go work for Expired Realty.
Oh, wow.
So whenever anybody had talked to me about it, I was just completely like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody who had influence on my life sold their business,
Yes.
their office,
Yes.
to go join the company. And I kind of said, hold on a minute here. Maybe there's something I'm missing.
Mm.
And what's the quote he always says? The most expensive thing is a closed mind.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. That's what this person always says. So, I took another look and I said, okay, so all of these agents that I'm mentoring, that I'm enjoying helping, that I know are going to be great agents one day, I can make money and they can make money and we can all be happy together. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
So that was number one. The money that, I get from helping agents, it doesn't come out of their income. It comes out of EXPs. And that's a big difference. Huge. Now these people can be empowered. They don't need to always live under me, which nobody wants to live under someone long term.
No.
Nobody who's any good.
Look, we always said here, we create leaders. We are trying to create leaders. We are creating leaders. Yeah. So all you're doing is just creating leaders. Exactly.
And a leader does not want to be under somebody else's thumb their whole life, which is how it is at a big box brokerage. Otherwise, you don't make anything.
Right.
Because then they leave your team and now you're back at square one.
Right.
So that was number one for me because my legacy is my long term. That's what I want long term.
Okay.
Number two is that I really want to help other women, especially, listen, I'll help anybody who wants my help, but especially women who they find themselves in a position where they need income and they don't know what to do. I know that if that woman gives me 4 hours of her day while her kid is at school, I will make her profitable. And I don't want that money to come out of her child's plate.
Right.
And I knew I could do that at EXP.